and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So a federal judge has set a trial date for Donald Trump for March 4th, 2024. Now, again, this is going to take place on Super Tuesday. There's a huge conflict of interest that this is going to happen because, again, he is going to be running for office, but also be facing a trial for what took place in 2020. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. First, we're going to hear from our fantastic friends from CBS. I know, corporate media. Bear with us, folks. Watch how shocked they are. And that dude has a long face, by the way.
What do you make of a trial one day before all those states go to vote and choose a nominee?
Scott, it's good to be with you. It's going to be a turbulent moment next year if this holds, and it actually is the beginning of the trial on the January 6th investigation by the special counsel. For former President Trump, it presents enormous challenges. But based on my conversations today with rival campaigns, it also could present a real opportunity for him to rally his own supporters around his own grievances about this investigation and other ongoing investigations.
Nancy, let me throw the same question at you. Because we're in an unprecedented moment, let's take
an unprecedented moment, again, where we have a presidential administration going after a political rival, trying to censor, silence, and suppress. Yes, it's bad. And no, this is not an endorsement of Donald Trump whatsoever. But the fact that this administration is lifting up everything it can, putting every ounce of its energy into trying to end Donald Trump, it should tell you what's going to be happening in the near future. Because, again, as we talked about on the post-duopoly show with Due Dissidents and Revolutionary Blackout Network, if Trump gets into power, be prepared to see the Republicans click, copy, and paste with what the Democrats are trying to do to the Republicans. It's going to be an ongoing cycle of stupidity, repeating itself over and over again. And who's going to be abandoned? The American people, of course.
Let's take a bigger perspective here. How do you sit in a courtroom and campaign simultaneously?
Right. I mean, let's just look at the logistics. Set the politics aside. How do you schedule rallies? How do you book venues months or weeks in advance when you don't know when you're going to have to be sitting in a courtroom or for how long you'll have to be sitting in that courtroom? Yes, his lawyers will, make motions. They threaten to do that today, to load the judge up with as many motions as possible. So it's unclear whether these trials will actually start when the judges say they will. It could get pushed back, but all of it creates an incredible atmosphere of uncertainty for the former president who wants to be a future president, but really can't nail down his plans very far in advance.
But there's a problem here. I want to pull up this. Shout out again to Nico House.
Just in case you are on the brink of losing your faith in the justice system, you should rest easy knowing that Biden staffers actually met with the special counsel Jack Smith's aides before Trump was indicted. And before you even ask, I'll just go ahead and let you know, no, it's not normal at all. It literally never happens except for in this one instance for some reason. But Caroline Saba worked for the White House's counsel, right? She met up with Jack Smith's aide on March 31st, 2023. 9 weeks later, Trump was indicted. So I want you all to imagine for a moment if the White House counsel sent a representative on behalf of Trump to go talk to Robert Mueller, for example, okay? And then just several weeks later, Robert Mueller threw the investigation into Russiagate out. Now, the investigation into Russiagate was BS anyway, but could you imagine the Democrats losing their fucking minds if Trump had a representative meet up with the special counsel and then got exactly what he wanted against his political opponent? But at least Hillary wasn't running anymore. In this situation, Joe Biden is sending people from his White House to go make sure his opponent is indicted on felony charges. But sure, nothing to see here, folks. It's all good. Perfectly normal.
And again, there's reasons why this administration is doing it. I pulled this up in a previous segment, and all of you have to see it here as well, because this is unacceptable by this administration, because this administration is afraid. As it stands right now, again, shout out to Brianna Joy Gray, right? But again, look, national poll right now, Trump, 46%, Biden, 44%, Trump, with Dr. Cornel West. Trump, 44% in the lead. Biden, 39%. Cornel West, 4%. This is just only the beginning. This is only the beginning in regards to the end of the Biden-Harris administration and how eventually they will fall apart, how they will fail, how they will flounder. And again, it is not my responsibility to help out the Democrats. Neither it's yours. But I think we all need to be concerned that the fact this administration is doing everything it can to remove Donald Trump from the campaign trail. They are afraid of his power and influence. They are afraid of the fact that, again, he's getting a lot of people rallying around him. And that mugshot, it's not working to their favor. Trump, being the showman that he is once again capitalizing on something. He is not going to be humiliated. He is not going to be embarrassed. He is not going to be pushed around. Donald Trump is going to stay in the race for however long he has to. And if he does win the presidency, he already said what he's going to do. He's going to do what the Democrats have been doing to him right back at them. But there's a problem with that. With this cycle of revenge and stupidity, the American people are still being ignored. This is why I tell people, do not associate yourself with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. The Democratic Party and Republican Party do not have America's best interests at heart. It's time for us to look at third parties. It's time for us to look at independents. Because again, can you imagine how insane this entire election cycle will be if this all comes together, like if there is going to be a trial and everything else? I want to pull up this article here from RT. Just to trigger the vote blue no matter who. Trump trial date set. Former U.S. President Donald Trump will be tried on federal conspiracy charges related to his alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election on March 4th of next year. Now, the thing is, stuff like this takes time. Usually it doesn't happen right away. Like there's a whole process. Democrats, in your super fast rush to try and get Trump to trial, did you ever take into account that maybe you didn't cross all your T's and dot your I's? Did you make sure that everything is correct? Did you make sure these prosecutors, these people going after Trump in Atlanta, Georgia, are on the up and up? Are you aware of that? Probably not. Rejecting the Trump team's efforts to postpone the trial until after the 2024 presidential election, which is, again, something that should happen, to make the trial date work regardless of his schedule. So that's what the judge is saying, arguing during a hearing at the federal court district in Washington. There is societal interest to a speedy trial. Why? Because they want to get rid of Trump. They want to humiliate him even further. Trump's lawyers had asked to push the date back to April of 2026, citing the need for a massive amount of discovery and other preparation to defend their client against the charges, which stem from his alleged involvement in the January 6th Capitol riot. Because again, Democrats can't get over January 6th. They can't get over it. It is their 9/11 for forever, an incident for which he was already impeached. Critics of the former president have argued the later date request was merely a stalling tactic so that Trump might pardon himself if he wins the election. That would be so funny if he wins the election too. Like no matter what, and if he's still on the campaign trail and doing a court date as well, all it's going to do is just boost up his numbers. And it's going to take place on a Super Tuesday of all things. Democrats, you know how to shoot yourselves in the foot. And all I could do is laugh at you. This is the world we live in, where we have, again, jag-off politicians who want to constantly distract you. And this Trump trial will be another distraction. But you know, you want to know what's really going to be funny is that the people who are going to be talking about it are the Democratic progressive lawmakers. They'll be tweeting about it. America needs justice. Send Trump to jail. Somebody's going to tweet that out. If it's not going to be AOC, it'll probably be Jamal Bowman or some other worthless Democratic lawmaker. Corporate media will be feasting off of it because, again, corporate media has nothing else better to do. So, in other words, the American people are going to be bombarded with Trump on trial. Democrats laughing at him. But look at the tragedy that's happening to our communities. Look at what's happening at our border. Look at what's happening to our cities. Nobody is doing their job. So this whole trial for Trump, fine. It's a disaster. But this administration is the one that's instigating it. And their actions are going to have consequences. Because if Trump walks away from this, there's nothing else they could throw at him. They'll try and find some attempt to go after him. They'll do something. But the damage is already done. And Democrats, you're going to have to live with this now. And don't ask me to help you out or support you or vote for any of your jagoff politicians. And to my audience, to what I have to tell you, grab the popcorn. Because this is going to be one madhouse. And the Trump derangement syndrome will be on full display.